So will space aliens, extraterrestrials, rescue humanity? Malstrom Air Force Base incident, extraterrestrials and their technology, their UFOs, and encounters. Please watch the video before this one. Ex-US Air Force captain says UFOs are ETs and want to send messages to us about nuclear technology. The event in Malstrom Air Force Base was in 1967. But here, July 1st, 1952, when Look magazine carried the story, Flying Saucers, the Hunt Goes On, with the byline, fearful of danger from the skies, the United States Air Force is launching a secret search to discover, once and for all, what is the mysterious, unbelievable thing Americans keep sighting overhead. So this was like over 70 years, it was just about 70 years ago. At that time, the Air Force confirmed more than 800 sightings of flying saucers with reports from outposts all across the country, including, quote, our vital atomic installation sites, end quote. Atomic sites were specific areas of interest for the old, odd, fast-moving saucers. Flash forward 65, 70 years, interviews with U.S. military personnel validate the presence of strange UFO craft shutting down nuclear missile sites. It's not just the U.S., it's also in England and Canada that these sightings were over, and also China and Russia, over bases. Now, the UFO craft shutting down missile sites in the U.S., turning the instruments off, inoperative, and overriding human controls, all of which is shocking to the nth degree. This is a matter of very strict national security. From visitors from outer space, obviously do not like nuclear stuff in the hands of humans. Otherwise, why focus on shutting down nuclear sites? Any force powerful enough to shut down nuclear weapon silos is far beyond the capabilities of Earthlings that they can dictate whatever they want. Still, why shut down missile sites? If intention is exposed by activity, then their message says nuclear power plants and nuclear weapons should go the way of the dodo bird. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. A documentary filmed July 2nd, 2017, UFOs and Nukes, The Secret Link, revealed by UAMN TV, is fascinating, almost beyond belief. And we have a series of UFO encounters on Netflix as well, if you want to see that. There are many, many documentaries about UFOs, but mostly ill-conceived, unsubstantiated, and horribly contrived. UAMN's may be one of the only films that seems credible, hopefully maybe because of the quality of first-hand witness accounts and the use of declassified military documents as well. UFOs and Nukes, The Secret Link revealed is a Robert Hastings film. He was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1950, at a military base where atomic weapons were engineered. His father served in the U.S. Air Force. From 1966 to 67, the family stationed at Malstrom Air Force Base. That's where the 67 sighting and event took place. So they moved to Malstrom Air Force Base, Montana, during one particular incident of UFO activity over a Minuteman missile site. Hastings personally witnessed 5 UFOs tracked on radar at base air control. That experience led to a lifetime of research. The film's message comes through very clearly. Humans should not be messing around with nuclear power. Didn't Einstein also say that? Yes, he did. Hastings' film is based upon declassified U.S. government documents and personal accounts of military officers, revealing that as early as December 1948, UFOs began showing up at American nuclear laboratories, bomb storage depots, weapons test grounds, and as time went on, intercontinental weapons missile sites as well. ICBM's launch officers from the 1960s and 70s have come forward with encounters of the third kind, stating that UFOs hovered over launch facilities as ICBM suddenly malfunctioned, unable to launch or react to commands by human operators. Okay, so these extraterrestrial UFOs were not allowing human operators to control these launch facilities. Additionally, ground-level security guards made panicky calls to underground mission control officers, informing them of the presence of unidentified circular craft, in other words, saucers, maneuvering in the sky above ICBM launch silos. In September 2010, several high-ranking retired military officers came forth in Washington, D.C. to discuss these encounters as follows. Captain Robert Salas, U.S. Air Force, retired. In 1967, he was a first lieutenant stationed at Malstrom Air Force Base in Montana as a missile launch officer. On March 24th, a ground-based security guard called Captain Salas to report, whilst screaming into the phone, that a red glowing object was hovering over the front gate. Immediately thereupon, the ICBMs locked into a no-go condition, as if a magical wand waved across the sky, shutting down the ICBMs. Lieutenant Colonel Dwayne Arneson, retired U.S. Air Force in 1967, was officer in charge of the Air Force Communications Center at Great Falls, Montana. In March, he received a message from a junior officer that hovering UFOs had shut down missile launch operations. Captain Bruce Fenstermacher, USAD, retired from Warren Air Force Base, Wyoming, 1976. Security guards reported a 50-foot long cigar-shaped white object, so that was huge, hovering in the sky. When Captain Fenstermacher later met with the security guard, he was in the fetal position and could not be calmed down. Can you imagine seeing something like that? Now, according to U.S. unclassified documents, missile sites in the former Soviet Union also experienced identical malfunctioning problems during the same time frame. The Freedom of Information Act revealed documents confirming, as early as December 1948, UFOs were sighted at Los Alamos, the birthplace of nuclear weapons. The same lab tested the first atomic bomb only 3 weeks before dropping the atomic bomb on Japan. The documents claim that UFOs consistently appeared in the area. The Oak Ridge Nuclear Lab in Tennessee also experienced UFOs, as did the Hanford Processing Plant in Washington State. That's where they have the nuclear waste. And so did Savannah River Complex, a plutonium manufacturing site in South Carolina. UFO sightings began to occur in earnest at U.S. missile sites as early as 1962. Lieutenant Colonel Philip Moore, U.S. Air Force, retired, Walker Air Force Base, was in command at Missile Complex 7, in charge of a launch crew for ICBMs. His ground crew reported a bright light above Site 6 that rapidly accelerated, instantly stopped, and instantly changed directions, nothing like they had ever witnessed before. Every ICBM base in the U.S. reported incidents of objects hovering over missile facilities. Often, U.S. Air Force personnel tracked the UFOs on radar, performing maneuvers vastly beyond man-made capabilities. Radar operators were stunned as the objects flew at speeds of thousands of miles an hour, hyperspeeds in other words, made sharp-angled turns, and instantly stopped in midair. Air Force interceptors chased some of the objects in futile attempts. At Vandenberg Air Force Base in 1967, Dr. Robert Jacobs, lieutenant at the time, said he witnessed a UFO intercept and destroy a test ICBM flight. He filmed the missile launches with a telescopic camera. A dummy warhead at speed of 5,000 to 6,000 miles per hour was shot 4 times and destroyed by a UFO that he captured on film, and the CIA captured his film. Before the CIA took the film, Jacob's superior officer, Major Mansman, used a magnifier, studied the film in detail frame by frame, and here's what he saw. The shape was a classic disc with a raised bubble in the center. The entire lower saucer glowed, and it rotated slowly. As it shot beams of light at the U.S. Air Force dummy warhead, the saucer first positioned itself to aim and shoot, happening at speeds of 6,000 miles an hour. In another close encounter, U.S. Air Force Captain J. Earnshaw at Warren Air Force Base, Wyoming in 1965 was in command of the site. The security control officer called him to report strange objects, 5 to 6 oblong lights hovering above the gate. Meantime, missile launch sites at North Dakota and South Dakota reported similar incidents. May Gaylan King, U.S. Air Force retired, Ellsworth Air Force Base, South Dakota, 1966, reported a saucer hovering over his missile site with a reddish light beaming down at the missile. I mean, this is shocking. Captain David Schneiderly, Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, in 1966 reported an object 80 to 100 feet in diameter sighted around his missile launch pads. All of his missiles went off alert status and shut down as the object hovered. Furthermore, according to Hastings' website, as recently as October 2012, multiple UFO incidents occurred at ICBM sites in Montana. See, these are things that we never heard about. Now, in the meantime, the world community already knows firsthand the destructive power of nuclear, and Japan is number one on the hit parade to win August 6, 1945, Hiroshima atomic bomb, and August 9th, 1945, Nagasaki atomic bomb, December 5th, 1965, Broken Arrow, coast of Japan, a U.S. Navy aircraft with one nuclear bomb fell off at the USS Ticonderoga into 5-mile deep water, and it was never recovered. That's shocking. The fourth incident, March 1981, 100 workers accidentally exposed to radiation doses of 155 millirem per day during repairs of nuclear power plant. Number 5, June 1999, Shika plant control rod malfunction exposed operators to uncontrolled sustained radiation. Number 6, Tokaimura nuclear accident. A uranium processing facility accident exposed 3 workers to excessive radiation. 2 died and 116 received large doses. And then, of course, this one everybody knows, March 11, 2011, Fukushima nuclear power plant experiences 3 full Monty blowouts or total meltdown, proving that the China syndrome is reality. And next, they'll hold Olympic Games in radiation zones of Fukushima, 2020. That's ridiculous. Anyway, not only that, the world community already knows that deadly out-of-control nuclear power destroys people in bunches without war. Chernobyl 1986 is the 18 primo example of how that works. 800,000 healthy Russian-Ukrainian Chernobyl liquidators, average age of 33 years old, worked to control the meltdown. And over 120,000 have died, with another 40 disabled for life, with chronic illnesses and genetic and perigenetic permanent damage to their descendants through their DNA. So yes, radiation damage is passed on from generation to generation to generation. Furthermore, Chernobyl is an example of nuclear radiation accidents bringing heartache and harm to innocent citizens who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. There are over 2,400,000 people registered with Ukraine's health ministry to receive ongoing Chernobyl-related health care, and of these, over about 500,000 are children, none born at the time of the accident. Their parents were children in 1986. And these children have a range of illnesses: respiratory, digestive, musculoskeletal, eye disorders, blood diseases, cancer, congenital malformations, genetic abnormalities, and trauma, according to a source from Chernobyl's kids with bodies ravaged by disaster. Meantime, Rocketman's ICBMs and nuclear warheads in North Korea grow ever more real and threatening as the leader of the free world and the great leader Kim occasionally exchange babyish words of wisdom. Judging by Japan's 70-year experience with nukes and the ongoing generation by generation damage and destruction to Chernobyl survivors, it appears UFOs may be onto something when they manipulate nuclear warheads, death stop, but then again, What about the credibility of all the retired military officers who spoke up about these UFOs hovering over ICBM missile sites? Are military officers in charge of top secret military installations that contained enough nuclear power to blow parts of the earth into smithereens credible witnesses? You've got to wonder what's going on, and are UFOs sending a message? This is on Bended Reality by Robert Hunziker on Counterpunch. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support.